In the middle of the ocean, there lived a group of magical sirens whose enchanting songs could hypnotize even the wisest of sailors, compelling them to leap into the sea and sacrifice their lives. For thousands of years, not a single sailor had ever managed to survive their deadly temptation. But when the Greek king Ulysses was passing through that route with his ship, he did not rely on his willpower at all. Instead, he devised a brilliant master plan. He stuffed the ears of all his sailors with wax so they could not hear the song, and ordered them to tie him tightly to the ship's mast with strong ropes. When the magical sirens began to sing, Ulysses became hypnotized and screamed to be untied. But the sailors couldn't hear him. And that is how King Ulysses escaped certain death and returned alive. In today's digital age, Facebook notifications, Instagram reels, and tempting junk foods are just like those magical ocean sirens. They hypnotize us every day and destroy our careers. Yet, we foolishly think we can block these temptations purely with willpower. We also insult ourselves every day by thinking we are lazy. But the real problem is not laziness. The problem lies in our brain's energy management and a flawed social circle. This video offers no temporary motivation. Rather, the moment you finish watching it, you will walk away with 5 practical and scientific formulas to tame extreme laziness and boost your brain power without fighting your own mind. This will be more than enough to completely transform your life. Chapter 9. The Social Circle for Self-Control. No matter how hard we try to be mentally strong, if the people around us are lazy and aimless, it becomes impossible to sustain our mental discipline. The author says that humans are such social creatures that they subconsciously copy the habits, thoughts, and lifestyles of their friends. If you spend your entire day with friends who are busy only with gossiping, playing games, and talking negatively, your brain will also lose interest in discipline. The core essence of this chapter is, instead of exercising your willpower all by yourself, create a social circle that forces you to stay positive and remain steadfast towards your goals. In this chapter, the author mentions a famous and long-term research case study in sociology. Analyzing the social relationships of thousands of people across 3 generations, scientists uncovered an incredible fact. It was found that if a person's close friend becomes obese, the probability of that person's own weight increasing shoots up by 57%, even if the 2 of them live in completely different places. The author explains through this scientific truth that not just food habits, but human laziness, discipline, and mental habits also spread like a virus from one friend to another. Imagine you are a piece of expensive, wonderfully fragrant sandalwood. If you are placed inside a sweet-smelling perfume factory or in the middle of a sandalwood forest, your own fragrance will spread even further around you. But if you leave that exact same piece of sandalwood inside a dirty coal mine day after day, the fragrance of the sandalwood will not only be lost, but the black soot of the coal will also turn your entire body ugly. The talent and discipline inside you are like that piece of sandalwood, and your friend circle is that environment. Staying with negative people who are like coal will blacken your mental strength, while staying with positive people who are like perfume will spread the fragrance of your success. 3 core lessons. You subconsciously become the average or the mirror image of the 5 closest people you keep around you. If you want to be successful and disciplined, reduce the number of people in your life and increase relationships with quality or high-value individuals. If you do not find good friends around you, then make the books of successful authors, educational podcasts, and biographies of great personalities your temporary social circle. Task: take a close look at your friends list today and decide. Cut down your hangout time by at least 50% with those who ridicule your goals or waste your time. Chapter 10. Automatic habits for long-lasting discipline. Many people think that to be mentally disciplined, one has to fight a war against their own mind from morning to night every single day. But the author says that the actual truth is completely the opposite. If you spend your willpower every day just to perform a task, you will eventually become exhausted and your discipline will collapse. The core essence of this chapter is the only way to transform mental discipline into an everlasting power is to turn conscious decisions into automatic habits. When a task becomes a habit, the brain no longer needs to expend any extra energy. Those tasks then happen on their own as naturally as brushing your teeth. In this chapter, the author highlights Charles Duhigg's famous psychological case study and the scientific foundation of the habit loop. Inside our brain, there is a region called the basal ganglia, whose primary function is to conserve the body's energy. When we perform a task repeatedly at the same time and in the same way, the brain shifts the task away from the prefrontal cortex, the logical part, and sends it to the basal ganglia. This is what we call a habit. Research shows that disciplined individuals complete nearly 40% of their daily activities completely without thinking through these automatic habits. Suppose you are learning to drive a car or ride a bike for the very first time in your life. For the first few days, you have to pay immense attention: when to press the clutch, when to change gears, when to hit the brakes. Your brain becomes completely exhausted over all of it. But after 1 or 2 months, when you become a skilled driver, you can easily drive flawlessly to your destination, even while listening to music or chatting with a friend sitting next to you. Here, the starting days of learning to drive represent standard mental discipline, which requires conscious effort to maintain. On the other hand, the later phase of becoming a skilled driver represents an automatic habit. Your goal is to elevate your decisions regarding studying, working, or hitting the gym to that subconscious, automatic level of driving a car. 3 core lessons. Stop trying to force yourself to stay disciplined every day for long-term success. Instead, focus on building small, positive habits. It takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit. If you can cross this initial threshold, the task will no longer feel difficult. Use habit stacking to build new habits, meaning anchor your new habit directly onto an old, established habit. For example, right after having my morning coffee, I will read a book for 10 minutes. Task. Make a list of habits that you already perform regularly every day, such as brushing your teeth at night or waking up in the morning, and stack a new 5-minute productive task right after it, such as creating the next day's to-do list or journaling. Chapter 11: Energy Management and Fatigue versus Laziness. Many times when we fail to perform a task, we insult ourselves by thinking we are lazy and suffer from guilt. But the author says that the problem does not always lie with your discipline. Often, the problem is a lack of your energy or strength. The brain requires a massive amount of glucose and energy to sustain mental discipline. If your body and mind are exhausted, even the most disciplined person on earth will lose focus. The core essence of this chapter is energy management is far more important than time management. Learn to recognize the difference between laziness and fatigue, and emphasize correct sleep, nutrition, and rest to boost your brain power. In this chapter, the author mentions a world-famous psychological research case study from Columbia University, which was based on the rulings of courtroom judges. Analyzing hundreds of parole rulings made by court judges throughout the day, researchers uncovered a bizarre fact.
It was found that at the start of the morning or right after lunch, the judges approved parole for nearly 65% of the criminals. But right before lunch or toward the end of the day, when the judges were hungry and exhausted, the rate of approving parole dropped to almost zero. The judges had not forgotten the law, but due to hunger, their brain's mental strength for decision-making and empathy had completely drained. In psychology, this is known as decision fatigue.
Imagine you possess a super fast iPhone of the latest model. With this phone, you can play any heavy game in the world or perform high-end video editing. Now, if the battery of this phone drops to just 2% and you forcefully launch a high-graphics game on it, what will happen? The phone will lag, hang, and eventually shut down. Here, your brain is that super fast iPhone, and your sleep and nutrition are its charger. Just as games cannot be played on a phone without charge, it is foolish to expect steel-hard discipline from a brain that lacks adequate sleep and rest. Before calling yourself lazy, check whether your battery is charged. 3 core lessons. Mental discipline does not mean working continuously like a robot. Taking correct rest at the right time is also a part of discipline. Whenever intense annoyance or laziness arises toward any work, ask yourself, am I truly lazy or are my body and mind exhausted? Stop making too many minor decisions throughout the day, such as what clothes to wear today, what to eat. These drain your brain's energy without you even realizing it. Task. Take a short 5 to 10 minute break after every 90 minutes of work throughout the day. During this break, instead of scrolling through your phone, just sit with your eyes closed, drink some water, or stretch your legs so that your brain's energy can recharge. Chapter 12. Self-compassion and the strategy of bouncing back from mistakes. Many think that to be mentally strong, one must be intensely harsh on oneself and view oneself as a terrible criminal whenever a mistake happens. But the author says that excessive self-criticism or anger directed at oneself actually destroys human discipline even further. When we miss a routine and insult ourselves by thinking we are lazy or failures, the brain falls under even greater mental stress. And to alleviate that stress, it runs right back towards some form of cheap gratification, such as phone scrolling or junk food. The core essence of this chapter is forgiving yourself for your own mistakes or showing self-compassion is the true power needed to bounce back. The real secret of discipline is not about being perfect every day, but rather about how quickly you return to the track after making a mistake. In this chapter, the author mentions a famous experiment from psychology which is called the "what the hell" effect. A group of dieting individuals was forcefully fed a high-calorie pizza so that their dieting rule would break. After that, plenty of chocolates and ice cream were brought and placed in front of them. It was observed that those who were very rigid about their rules thought, "Damn, since the rule is broken anyway, I might as well eat whatever I want." And with this thought, they devoured a massive amount of junk food. On the other hand, those who were told, "Humans make mistakes, it's no big deal," managed to control themselves after eating just a very small amount. In other words, excessive harshness towards oneself makes a person even more undisciplined. Imagine you are driving a car down a mountain road and suddenly one tire of your car hits a small pothole and gets punctured. Now, out of anger or frustration, would you get out of the car, take a hammer, and smash your remaining 3 tires to puncture them too? Certainly not. You will pull the car out of the pothole and start driving carefully again. Missing a single day of your routine is just like that tire falling into a pothole. If your diet breaks or you fail to study for one day, thinking, damn, nothing can be achieved by me, and destroying the entire week's routine is just as foolish as puncturing your remaining tires with a hammer. 3 core lessons. Making a mistake does not mean you have lost. Instead of viewing yourself as a criminal, learn to forgive your mistake like a good friend. The ultimate golden rule of discipline is never miss twice. Due to some reason, hitting the gym or studying might get missed for one day, but ensure at any cost that it does not get missed for a second consecutive day. Successful people never waste time regretting a broken routine. Instead, they immediately focus on the next productive task instead. Task. If any of your pre-planned tasks got missed today due to laziness, instead of insulting yourself, calmly say to yourself, "It's okay. As a human being, I made a mistake today. But tomorrow, I will start my day with this very task at any cost." Chapter 13. Dissecting Temptation and the Pre-Commitment Strategy. When we are in a calm state of mind, we make massive promises. But when temptation stands directly right in front of us, all our logic stops working. Author Ian says that relying on your willpower at the moment of temptation is the biggest foolishness on earth. Because at that specific moment, the primitive part of the brain wants to win over discipline. The core essence of this chapter is, to block future temptations, you must use your present calm mind to create a pre-commitment contract or a mental wall in advance so that even if you want to, during the moment of temptation, you cannot make a wrong decision. In this chapter, the author mentions a highly famous psychological metaphor and strategy from Greek mythology, which is known in psychology as the Ulysses Pact. When King Ulysses was returning with his ship, he knew that a group of magical ocean sirens would appear ahead, whose enchanting songs hypnotize any sailor into jumping into the sea and losing his life. To survive this temptation, Ulysses devised a plan in advance. He stuffed the ears of all his ship's sailors with wax so they could not hear the song and ordered them to tie him tightly to the ship's mast with strong ropes. When the ship was passing by those sirens, Ulysses fell under the spell of the song and ordered the sailors to untie him. But since the sailors had wax in their ears, they did not listen. As a result, Ulysses' life was saved. The author advises that you must take such a Ulysses pact or advance rigid measures against the temptations in your own life as well. Imagine you are on a strict diet and eating sweets is completely forbidden for you. Now, if you stock your room's refrigerator full of rasgullas, chocolates, and ice cream and open the fridge every morning and evening to look at them while thinking, "No, I'm mentally strong, I will not touch these," then on some day when you are overwhelmed with work stress, you will devour all the sweets in one sitting. The smart thing to do here is not to test your willpower by keeping sweets in the fridge, but rather not bringing sweets into the house at all. When there are no sweets in the house, even if you feel an intense urge in the middle of the night, you will not go to a shop to buy them due to laziness. This is the Ulysses Pact you create against your own mind. 3 core lessons. Do not try to win a war while standing face to face with temptation. True discipline means blocking the path to facing temptation in advance. Use technology for your own good. For example, use apps to block social media during work hours that will prevent you from opening the apps even if you want to. While you are in a calm state of mind, tie down all the ways your lazy mind can disobey you with strong ropes. Task. To avoid the temptation of scrolling through your phone before sleeping at night, make a Ulysses pact starting today. Keep your phone charger in another room far away from your bedroom so that there is no opportunity to hold the phone while lying in bed at night. Chapter 14. The Mental Anchor of Long-Term Goals. It is easy to hold on to a routine or rule temporarily for 1 to 2 weeks. But sustaining it month after month or year after year is extremely difficult. The author says that when the underlying purpose or the why behind our work is not clear, our mental discipline loses motivation very quickly. Whenever we face a difficult situation, our subconscious mind questions, what is the need to do this work with so much hardship? The core essence of this chapter is the only way to maintain mental discipline during tough times is to link your present hardship with a major future emotion, which is called mental anchoring. In this chapter, the author highlights the psychological case study and the famous quote of Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist who survived the hellish conditions of Nazi concentration camps during World War II. Viktor Frankl noticed that under extreme torture, hunger, and cold in the camps, those prisoners died first who lost their hope of survival. But those who held a deep purpose or why in their minds, such as returning after the war to see their child's face or finishing their incomplete book, gained the strength to survive despite their body and mind enduring unbelievable suffering. Frankl proved through his research, he who has a 98% why to live or work can bear almost any how or difficult situation.
Imagine a massive ship caught in a fierce storm in the middle of the ocean. Huge waves from all sides are trying to wash the ship away. If the ship floats in this storm without dropping an anchor into the sea, it will be smashed into pieces by crashing against some rock due to the impact of the waves. But if the ship is tightly secured to the seabed with a powerful iron anchor, no matter how severe the storm gets, the ship will remain steady in its place. Your daily laziness, fatigue, or the difficult times of life are like the waves of that storm, and your major future dream or purpose in life is that anchor. When the anchor of your goal is strong inside your mind, no wave of laziness can move you away from your routine. 3 core lessons. Simply saying, I have to earn money or I have to lose weight, these are weak purposes. There must be a deep emotional reason behind your purpose or why. Whenever intense laziness arises while performing a task, close your eyes and think, if I don't do this work, how terrible could my life become 5 years from now? Recall your long-term goals in your mind once every morning so that the brain can find the necessary energy required for discipline throughout the day. Task. Clearly write down your 3 biggest goals in life and why fulfilling them is urgent for you on a piece of paper or in your diary. Keep the paper in a place such as your desk or your phone's wallpaper where it catches your eye every morning as soon as you wake up.
Chapter 15. The Temptation of Instant Gratification and the 10-Minute Rule. An ancient and primitive trait of our brain is that it prefers present minor pleasures or instant gratification over long-term major rewards. Whenever we sit down to do a boring but necessary task, our mind starts becoming intensely restless and subconsciously seeks some cheap entertainment, such as scrolling through reels or playing a game. The author says that if you fight a direct war against your mind during this moment of restlessness, you will lose. A smarter approach is to trick your mind a little. The core essence of this chapter is, instead of trying to completely suppress the intense urge of temptation, delay it slightly using time, which is known in psychology as the 10-minute rule. In this chapter, the author mentions a successful case study of a therapy used in modern psychology and addiction recovery centers. Research on patients suffering from severe smoking or drug addiction showed that when an intense craving for a harmful substance arose in their minds, if they told themselves, "I will never touch this again in my life," the brain would panic and become even more restless. But when the patients were taught to say, "Just wait for 10 more minutes. After 10 minutes, you can have it if you still want to," It was observed that after the 10 minutes passed, the ghost of that intense temptation completely left the brains of nearly 80% of the patients. This happens because the chemical wave of temptation lasts in the brain for a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes, after which it calms down on its own. Imagine a stubborn little child throwing a tantrum, rolling on the ground and crying in front of a shop to buy an expensive toy. Now, if you get violently angry at the child and beat him, he will scream and cry even louder, becoming more stubborn. But if you cleverly tell him in a calm voice, "Son, let's go home first. Come on, we will come back in the afternoon and get the toy," it will likely be seen that after reaching home, the child completely forgets about the toy while playing other games. Your lazy or tempted mind is just like that stubborn child. Whenever the mind says, "Damn, I won't study now, let's scroll through Facebook for a bit," instead of scolding the mind, tell it, "All right, mind, we will scroll through Facebook, but just after doing this work attentively for 10 more minutes. After 10 minutes, you will find that your work momentum has kicked in, and the lazy urge to scroll has faded away." 3 core lessons. The intense feelings of temptation or laziness are like ocean waves. They hit suddenly with immense speed, but if you hold your patience for a little while, they recede on their own. Telling the mind, "I will do it a bit later," is psychologically far more effective than telling it a flat no regarding any temptation. The 10-minute rule works in reverse as well. If you feel too lazy to start a task, tell yourself, "I will just do this work for 10 minutes. If I don't feel good, I'll leave it." Most of the time, you won't feel like stopping after those 10 minutes. Task. Today, whenever you feel an intense temptation to suddenly pick up your phone or get up leaving your work behind, immediately look at the clock and challenge yourself in your mind. "I will just not move from this seat for 10 more minutes. After that, I will do whatever I want." Chapter 16. Mental Discipline is True Freedom in Life. In this final and ultimate chapter of the book, the author shatters the biggest misconception we have regarding mental discipline. Ordinary people tend to think that a disciplined life is like a prison, where one lacks the freedom or pleasure to live according to their own wishes. But the author states that the actual truth is completely the opposite. A person who has no control over their own mind, emotions, and habits is nothing but a slave to their primitive instincts. The core essence of this chapter is mental discipline is the true freedom of life. When you can control your own mind, only then do you break free from the shackles of laziness, regret, poverty, and failure, gaining the authentic freedom to write your own destiny. In this chapter, the author highlights the psychological philosophy and lifestyle case study of Jocko Willink, a retired U.S. Navy SEAL commander and famous author. Jocko Willink wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every single day. Many look at this and view it as a form of torture or hardship, but Jocko explains that this early morning discipline gifts him an extra 3 to 4 hours of time every day, which lazy people waste by sleeping. Within this bonus time, he finishes all of his critical tasks, allowing him to spend time with his family and pursue his hobbies completely stress-free by the end of the day. In other words, a minor sacrifice of discipline in the morning brings him deep mental peace and the ultimate freedom of time at the end of the day. Imagine a massive river flowing with immense speed. If there are strong embankments or boundaries built on both sides of the river, the water will flow in a specific direction to irrigate crop fields, generate electricity, and make human life beautiful. But if the embankments on both sides of that river are demolished and the water is allowed to flow freely according to its own whims, what will happen?
that very water will submerge the surrounding villages, causing massive floods and widespread destruction. Your mental discipline is just like the strong embankments on both sides of that river. Just as an embankment harnesses the true power of a river's flow, having the boundaries of discipline in life channels your hidden talents and energy to take you to the peak of success. So-called freedom without discipline ultimately invites the flood of chaos and destruction into your life. 3 core lessons. Moving according to your momentary emotions is not freedom. Rather, controlling your emotions to do the right thing at the right time is true heroism. The tiny bit of pain you accept for discipline today will gift you a wonderful, independent life free of regret tomorrow. Mental discipline is not a project meant for a single day or a single month. It is a beautiful art and a philosophy of life to be practiced for a lifetime. Task. After completing this journey through these 16 chapters, puff out your chest today and tell your mind, from today onward, I am not a slave to my lazy mind. Rather, I am the master of my own mind. Start your new life of discipline today with just one single rule.
Core messages and tasks of chapters 9 to 16 at a glance. Chapter 9. Do not try to exercise your willpower all alone. Instead, build a positive social circle that forces you to stay focused on your goals, as habits and discipline spread like a virus among friends. Chapter 10. Instead of forcefully burning your willpower every day, turn conscious decisions into the subconscious mind's automatic habits by practicing them for 66 days. Chapter 11. Check your energy levels before insulting yourself as lazy and focus on adequate sleep and rest to eliminate decision fatigue from the brain. Chapter 12. Forgive yourself instead of feeling like a criminal when a routine is missed, and strictly follow the golden rule of discipline: never miss twice, never miss 2 days in a row. Chapter 13. Do not test your willpower face-to-face with temptation. Instead, completely block the path to temptation by setting up a Ulysses pact or rigid measures in advance. Chapter 14. To stop yourself from drifting away in the stormy waves of laziness, anchor your mind to the real emotional reason or the long-term why behind your daily struggles. Chapter 15. When your mind craves cheap entertainment during a boring task, do not scold it. Instead, use the 10-minute rule to delay the urge of temptation for a short while. Chapter 16. Stop being a slave to momentary emotions. Always remember, mental discipline is the ultimate key that grants you a beautiful, independent life free of regret. Don't forget to let us know how you liked the video.